Tubahaye ikaze by'umwihariko kuri gahunda zigiye gukomereza hano muri Kigali Convention Center aharimo kubera inama ihuje u Rwanda ndetse n'igihugu cya Zimbabwe. Abacuruzi barenga 80 baturutse mu gihugu cya Zimbabwe bari mu Rwanda aho baje kureba amahirwe ari mu Rwanda aho bashobora gushora imari. Ni nyuma y'amasezerano atandukanye yasinywe ku munsi w'ejo ahuza ibihugu byombi kugira ngo ishoramari hagati y'ibi bihugu byombi, ubuhahirane hagati y'ibi bihugu byombi rusheho gutera imbere. Aba bacuruzi bakaba bari mu nzego zigiye zitandukanye, harimo abashora imari mu bijyanye n'ubukerarugendo, abashora imari mu bijyanye no kubaka ibikorwa remezo ndetse n'izindi nzego zitandukanye. Bahuye na bagenzi babo baraganira, babereka amahirwe ari mu gihugu ndetse n'uburyo bashobora gufatanya. Ariko nyuma y'iyi nama nanone hakazanaba n'indi nama izabera muri Zimbabwe, noneho abacuruzi b'abashoramari b'abanyarwanda bifuza gushora imari muri kiriya gihugu cya Zimbabwe nabo bakajya kuganira na bagenzi babo kugira ngo ubuhahirane burusheho gutera imbere mu rwego rw'ubucuruzi, iterambere rigakomeza cyangwa se rikihuta, ubufatanye hagati y'ibihugu muri rusange, na cyane ko Afrika yakomeje kugaragaza ko hakwiriye kubaho uburyo bwo kwishakamo ibisubizo ndetse hakanabaho n'uburyo nanone bw'ubuhahirane hagati y'ibihugu. Hanyuma Afrika yamara kwihaza hakaba ari bwo Afrika n'ubundi yakomeza cyangwa se yabasha gusagurira n'amahanga cyangwa se gusagurira n'indi migabane. U Rwanda rero rukaba rufitanye umubano n'igihugu cya Zimbabwe ndetse no ku munsi w'ejo by'umwihariko hakaba harafunguwe ambasade ya Zimbabwe, yafunguwe ku mugaragaro ku munsi w'ejo. Usibye rero aba bacuruzi hakaba hari n'abayobozi nanone ku rwego rw'abaminisitiri nabo baje baherekeje iri tsinda, nabo barimo kureba ku buhahirane, ku mubano ndetse nanone n'ubucuruzi kugira ngo uyu mubano n'ubundi ukomeze gushingira ku bwubahane. Mu kanya katarambiranye turakira umushyitsi mukuru bwari buze kuba aje gutangiza iyi nama ku mugaragaro. Ntimujye kure ya televiziyo zanyu, turacyari kumwe kugira ngo n'ubundi ibiganiro biza kubera ahangaha ndetse nibiza kwigirwamo ndetse n'imyanzuro iza gufatirwamo n'ubundi abakurikira televiziyo y'u Rwanda, abanyarwanda muri rusange baza kumenya ayo mahirwe ari muri Zimbabwe, ariko nanone n'abanyazimbabwe nabo bamenye amahirwe ari mu gihugu. Turacyari kumwe, televiziyo y'u Rwanda irahakubera, RBA hafi yawe. Ngibyo rero nyine n'ubundi turacyari hano muri Kigali Convention Center aho dutegereje nyakubahwa Perezida wa Repubulika ubwo ari buze gufungura iyi nama ndetse akaza no gutanga impanuro ku banyarwanda ndetse n'abanyazimbabwe, ariko ubwo birumvikana n'abanyafrika muri rusange kugira ngo dukomeze kuzamura ubukungu bwa Afrika. Uko tuzamura ubukungu bwa buri gihugu ni nako n'ubukungu bwa Afrika nabwo bukomeza gutera imbere. Ikigo gishinzwe ubucuruzi muri Zimbabwe, Zimtrade ndetse na RDB yo mu Rwanda muri rusange banagaragaza ko mu byo bashyize imbere ari uko u Rwanda rwaza mu bihugu 10 Zimbabwe yoherezamo ibicuruzwa mu masezerano y'imikoranire ageze kuri 5 yasinywe hagati y'u Rwanda na Zimbabwe ku munsi w'ejo. Nk'uko mu mwanya nari maze kuyagarukaho, RDB yo ikaba inatangaza ko hari inzego nyinshi u Rwanda rwabyazamo umusaruro, harimo nk'ikoranabuhanga, ubucukuzi bw'amabuye y'agaciro n'izindi. Ubu bufatanye bukaba buzagaragarira cyane cyane mu ikoranabuhanga ndetse nanone rugaragarire mu bukerarugendo, mu buhinzi, mu kurengera ibidukikije, gukorana bya hafi kw'abikorera ku mpande zombi. Nk'uko twababwiye n'ubundi hano muri Kigali Convention Center hakaba harimo abacuruzi baturutse muri Zimbabwe, harimo abacuruzi baturutse b'abanyarwanda bakomeza baganira na hano nubwo bakiri no muri sale nabwo bakaba bakomeje nyine kugenda baganira uburyo bamwe bashora imari mu gihugu abandi bagashora imari mu gihugu, ariko tuvuge nk'abaje muri Zimbabwe nabo bakaba bashobora kuba bafatanya, bavuye muri Zimbabwe bakaba banafatanya na bagenzi babo b'abacuruzi hano mu Rwanda nk'abari kuri tele cyangwa se abari imbere mu gihugu bashobora kubafata akaboko bakabayobora bakabafasha kugira ngo n'iryo shoramari ryabo ribashe naryo nyine kugenda neza. Aya masezerano rero nk'uko twatumaze kubivuga akaba ari mu ikoranabuhanga, mu bukerarugendo, mu buhinzi, harimo nanone no mu kurengera ibidukikije, gukorana bya hafi mu nzego zombi. Akaba ari amwe mu masezerano yasinywe hagati y'u Rwanda na Zimbabwe. Nyakubahwa Perezida wa Repubulika rero akaba ahageze, reka tubareke dukurikire inama.
Rwanda Paul Kagame. You're very welcome, Mr. President. Thank you all. Please be seated. Your Excellency, President of the Republic of Rwanda, Honorable Dr. Sekai Nzenza, Minister of Industry and Commerce, Republic of Zimbabwe, Honorable Mangaliso Ndlovu, Minister of Environment, Climate, Tourism and Hospitality Industry, Republic of Zimbabwe, Honorable Ministers of the Republic of Rwanda present here, senior government officials of Rwanda and Zimbabwe present here, captains of industry, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon and a warm welcome to this closing session of the first ever Rwanda-Zimbabwe Trade and Investment Forum. Your Excellency, this conference was jointly organized by our two countries and was intended to serve as a platform to strengthen the trade and investment ties between our respective countries, building on our excellent bilateral relations. Over the last 2 days, our business and government leaders have had very interactive and constructive discussions, during which they have clearly spotlighted the tangible opportunities for enhanced trade and investment. And they've also exchanged critical information on the doing business environment in the respective countries. And so there is no doubt, Your Excellency, that our private sectors leave this conference fully armed with all the insights that they need to fully exploit the opportunities to do business with each other. Your Excellency, distinguished guests, to share more insights on the deliberations and outcomes that we have had over the last 2 days, it is now my pleasure to invite the Deputy CEO of the Rwanda Development Board, Zephany Niyonkuru. Please join me in welcoming him. Thank you.
Your Excellency, the President of the Republic of Rwanda, honorable ministers, ambassadors, captains of the industry, both from Rwanda and Zimbabwe, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. It has been a great 2 days of hard work, and a lot has been achieved. If we are to look back, in March this year, there was a virtual joint permanent commission for cooperation meeting, which, among other activities, signed key memorandum of understanding between our two nations. One of these MOUs was between the Rwanda Development Board and Zimtrade, and one of the key activities we said we are going to focus on was to organize a conference bringing together members of the private sector from both countries to discuss investment and trade opportunities and also agree on key areas of cooperation. Despite the pandemic, we are so happy that we are here. We had to postpone this event several times, but now we are grateful that we are now discussing what has been achieved over the last 2 days. The 2-day Rwanda-Zimbabwe Trade and Investment Conference focused on exploring mutually beneficial business partnership and creating linkages for the two countries. As a result, during the conference, we signed additional agreements to also increase cooperation in other areas. The key agreements and MOUs that we assigned include an MOU on cooperation in the field of tourism and business events. We also signed an MOU on cooperation in the field of environment and climate change. Number 3, we signed an MOU, and this was between the Private Sector Federation of Rwanda and the Confederation of Zimbabwe Industries. Number 4, there was an MOU in the field of ICT and e-government. And last but not least, there was also an MOU which was signed on cooperation in the field of agriculture, livestock, and livestock development. In addition to this, bilateral conversations were held, and these conversations were at both government to government and also business to business. And all of these were mainly in the spirit of making sure that at government level, we agree on key intervention to put in place to keep fast-tracking and facilitating trade and investment activities. In addition to this, if I were to give also some of the key actions that were discussed, especially at government-to-government level, this morning we had a conversation with the Minister of Tourism and his delegation from Zimbabwe, and we agreed that in addition to the MOU we signed, we also have to implement key actions. Among the key actions discussed, we agreed to fast-track the process of putting in place a single tourism visa to ensure that visitors or tourists visiting one of the countries can also extend their stays in the other country without necessarily looking for additional visa. We also discussed areas of management of national parks and the translocation of animals. We agree that over the next 3 weeks, we shall work on a list of animals that the two countries may exchange so that we enhance tourism activities between our two countries. We also agreed on putting in place activities that will be helping us to market the two countries as joint destination and also organize familiarization trips for the tour operators in both countries so that they can see the opportunities that will be marketing and selling to the tourists. Your Excellency, honorable guests, several current and future needs of Rwanda and Zimbabwe were assessed, and several business deals have been agreed, and the following are just few notable ones that I'll be talking about. Tejas, a company from Zimbabwe, decided to open a subsidiary in Rwanda, and they'll be setting up a furniture manufacturing business. Another key company that we can talk about is Maka from Zimbabwe, which is also going to enter into discussions with the Minister of Agriculture on aspects related to supply of irrigation equipment. We also have Zimnyama, an operator in the Zimbabwean horticulture, who's going to start supplying farm fresh products and providing these products to different establishments in Rwanda. We also have W2 Industries from Zimbabwe, which also decided to open in Rwanda to expand their operations here, and they're involved in development of school infrastructure, including setting up school laboratories. We also have companies that discussed supply of coffee, and the company from Rwanda was also able to close a deal where they'll be supplying 5 tons of roasted coffee, and they expect to make the first shipment next week. Your Excellency, more deals were discussed, but I wanted to highlight a few. And during the discussions, several perspectives emerged in the general discussions. Moreover, the members from two countries agreed to keep working together to ensure that we keep fast-tracking trade and investment activities, not only between the two countries, but also in the region. Basically, companies from Rwanda and Zimbabwe being able to do joint activities in other countries like Mozambique, Zambia, Malawi, and beyond. The members of the private sector gave homework to the governments And they want us to fast-track discussions and negotiations so that they can easily be getting work permits in the two countries. Number two, fast-track the agreement that will be helping them to repatriate the capital, and also fast-track instruments that will be avoiding or helping them not to be taxed twice in case they conduct businesses in both countries. Your Excellency, you'll be pleased to learn that overall, the two-day trade and investment conference achieved the main objective of strengthening bilateral and economic cooperation between our two countries in order to boost trade and investments. Additionally, several people-to-people initiatives have been accomplished, and this will form lasting personal relationships from today onwards. The actionable takeaways from this conference will increase the prospects for achieving our desired goal of boosting bilateral trade and investments and enhancing private sector participation in economic activities between Zimbabwe and Rwanda. Thank you, Your Excellency.
Thank you very much, Deputy CEO, for that comprehensive recap highlighting the concrete actions and opportunities that have emerged from these discussions. I think the ball is now in our respective courts to make sure that we quickly materialize this into operational initiatives. Distinguished guests, it is now my honor to invite Honorable Dr. Sekai Nzenza, the Minister of Industry and Commerce, Republic of Zimbabwe, to deliver her remarks. Please join me in welcoming her.
The Master of Ceremony, Ms. Louise Kunyonga, the President of the Republic of Rwanda, His Excellency Paul Kagame, the Minister of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation of Rwanda, Honorable Dr. Vincent Biruta, Minister of Trade and Industry of Rwanda, my colleague, Honorable Beata Habyarimana, Minister of Environment, Climate Change, Tourism, and Hospitality Industry, Honorable Mangaliso Dlovo. Other ministers here present. The Zimbabwe Ambassador to Rwanda, Her Excellency Professor Charity Manyeruke. Permanent Secretary of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation of Rwanda, Ms. Feza Urujeni Bakuramutsa. Other permanent secretaries here present. Senior government officials from Rwanda and Zimbabwe here present. Rwanda Development Board Chief Executive Officer, Ms. Claire Akamanzi. Zimtrade Board Chair, Ms. Clara Mlambo. Zimtrade Chief Executive Officer, Mr. Alan Majuru. Captains of Industry and Commerce from both Rwanda and Zimbabwe. Media representatives, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, it is indeed my great honor and privilege to be invited to address this important gathering at strengthening trade, investment cooperation between Zimbabwe and Rwanda. But first, Your Excellency, I begin by bringing you warm greetings from the President, His Excellency, Dr. Emmerson Mnangagwa. Allow me, Your Excellency, to express my sincere gratitude to the government of the Republic of Rwanda for a very warm welcome, hospitality, and the courtesies extended to the Zimbabwe delegation. Let me also thank Zimtrade and Rwanda Development Board for organizing this premium event, whose objective is to promote mutually beneficial trade and investment between our two countries. I must also commend the efforts of AB Communication, the Embassy of Rwanda in Zimbabwe, also thanking His Excellency Ambassador Musoni, who has become a Zimbabwean, Your Excellency. And also to thank Rwanda Air for ensuring the successful hosting of this event, especially after it had been postponed twice due to COVID. Your Excellency, the conference comes at a time when COVID-19 pandemic has increased uncertainty and caused structural shifts in the global economy. However, we are here today observing the WHO guidelines. We are also engaging at a time where it is important to proffer new business solutions, thereby enabling us to emerge stronger from the COVID pandemic. A good example is the continued flight between Harare and Kigali by Rwanda Air, which facilitates the resuscitation of tourism, given the successful vaccination program in cities such as Victoria Falls. Your Excellency, I'm pleased to say that in Victoria Falls, we have achieved 99% vaccination, meaning we are moving towards herd immunity in a major tourist destination in Zimbabwe. Your Excellency, under the leadership of His Excellency Dr. Idi Mnangagwa, Zimbabwe is now geared towards economic development and increased productivity in the country. This is shown by the government's championing major development projects, which include roads, housing, dam construction, airports expansion, and power generation. These projects are all meant to create the requisite infrastructure in support of private sector-led growth. In order to encourage increased productivity, competitiveness, and job creation in the productive sectors, the government is implementing the National Development Strategy 1. This strategy is anchored on key interconnected pillars that are aimed at achieving sustainable economic development, also achieving microeconomic stability, financial re-engagement, good governance, infrastructure, and utilities. Your Excellency, a vibrant private sector is the cornerstone of development in any nation. The Rwanda-Zimbabwe Trade and Investment Conference is one of the first fruits of the Memorandum of Understanding that was signed between Zimtrade and Rwanda Development Board during the inaugural virtual session of the Joint Permanent Commission on Cooperation, which was held in March 2021. I'm excited that our private sector business enterprises here who are present have continued to offer their very unwavering support to both the two governments. We therefore encourage inward and outward missions between the private sectors as has been started here. Further, in strengthening our economic cooperation and exchange of information, it is vital that the two countries participate at each other's trade and investment shows. Your Excellency, the 5 MOUs have already been mentioned, which were witnessed yesterday. The signing of these MOUs is a major milestone, indicating strong commitment towards cooperation and development of our two countries. In terms of trade, intra-Africa trade accounted for 15% of Africa's total trade in 2019. Your Excellency, this is very low. This low volume of trade, however, gives us an opportunity to expeditiously come up with robust initiatives that propel the growth of our industries. It is also an opportunity, Your Excellency, between the two countries. Zimbabwe has a huge potential to supply the Rwanda market with agricultural and horticulture products, pharmaceuticals, leather products, textiles, construction, education, and other business services. On investment, Zimbabwe has opportunities in agriculture, mining, manufacturing, and energy. On the other hand, Rwanda has potential to export ICT and other light manufacturing products to Zimbabwe. As members of the Common Market for Eastern and Southern Africa and the African Continental Free Trade Area, our private sectors need to continuously collaborate, riding on these frameworks. Before I close, Your Excellency, I would like to thank the government of Rwanda and the Rwanda Development Board for playing an instrumental role during the establishment of the Zimbabwe Investment Development Agency, ZIDA. Your Excellency, I also must thank you for supporting us with the services of Mark Holtman. He did mention this yesterday, that he provides support to the Bank of Kigali and is also providing support to the Commercial Bank of Zimbabwe. So we already have something in common, Your Excellency. Zimbabwe has also a lot to learn from the ease of doing business. And Zimbabwe is advancing through the leadership of our president, is advancing towards the engagement and re-engagement agenda. On the diplomatic frontier, we are putting more emphasis on economic diplomacy. In closing, Your Excellency, I would like to end by inviting the private sector and also my counterpart, the Minister of Industry and Trade, to visit Zimbabwe. When they do visit Zimbabwe, Your Excellency, we promise to extend the same hospitality, not just hospitality, Your Excellency, the same African hospitality that we have received here. Thank you, Your Excellency.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Honorable Minister, for your remarks and for that very warm invitation to our private sector. It is clear that Rwanda and Zimbabwe have very similar economic pursuits and aspirations, and we look forward to this enhanced collaboration. And now, ladies and gentlemen, it is my distinct honor to invite His Excellency, the President of the Republic of Rwanda, to deliver his remarks. Please all join me in welcoming the President as he makes his way. Thank you.
Thank you. Seated. Honorable Ministers of Zimbabwe and Rwanda, business leaders from both our countries, good afternoon to you. Although you have been here a few days already, I want to welcome you to Rwanda. This gathering is special. For a number of years now, Rwanda and Zimbabwe have been working to deepen the ties between our countries. Your presence here is the latest step in that journey, and a significant one too. I take particular note of the ministers from Zimbabwe who have accompanied this delegation. I thank you all for your commitment. Be assured that the Rwandan private sector is ready to reciprocate and work with you to identify mutually beneficial business opportunities. The history of both our countries has been marked by moments of adversity and tragedy, but also success and resilience. In that, we are part of the wider African experience. Progress does not come easily or without sacrifice. It requires hard work, dedication, and self-reliance. But self-reliance does not mean being alone. No country on our continent can prosper without cooperating within our region. We have to come together, pool our resources and knowledge, and reinforce one another. The African Continental Free Trade Area provides us with a clear framework to align our interests and our strengths. But the best rationale for collaboration, as we have seen during this conference, is that we have a great deal to offer each other. So let's make the most of it and act on the outcomes of this conference with a sense of urgency. Before I end my remarks, two things. One, I had in the presentations made to us, very important things we can do together and what each country offers and so on and so forth. I wanted to emphasize one thing. I think it is the Deputy CEO of RwandaTV who mentioned in the passing what Zimbabwe can offer in the area of education. He talked about equipment or something. Before equipment, I want people. I think Zimbabwe can offer us good teachers. So please work on that with a sense of urgency, since this is what we said. You can find whatever number you find of quality teachers, I think we can absorb. Because we need them. We need them urgently. The second is I want to send a message of friendship and brotherly relations through the delegation of Zimbabwe, the ministers. Please give His Excellency, my brother, President Emerson Mnangagwa, my greetings and best wishes. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Excellency. If I may invite you to please take your seat on the stage for the interactive session. Yes, sir. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, another warm round of applause for His Excellency's very insightful remarks. I think the message is clear, the opportunities abound, but we must act with a sense of urgency. So, ladies and gentlemen, we will now have a very interactive session with His Excellency, which will be moderated by Mr. Benson Bewe. I hand it over to you, Benson. Thank you.
Your Excellency, how are you?
I'm very well, thank you.
Thank you so much.
Yourself? I hope you are well too.
I am well, I'm sure you can see that.
Good.
Your Excellency, let me first start by appreciating you for giving us this opportunity as Zimbabwe to visit your country. Over the days that we've been here, we've learned a lot. We've seen a lot. We have observed a lot. And I believe the colleagues here, they share the same sentiment. We want to also appreciate the wonderful work you are doing of transforming your country into a futuristic country. When you look at the way, the strides that we are making in Rwanda, we as young people on the continent, we are filled with hope. We are filled with a lot of aspiration. And as leaders, I believe we are taking a lot from what you are doing. Ladies and gentlemen, we appreciate the President. Thank you. Your Excellency, I want to take the privilege of being the first one to ask you my question. As a leader in Africa, I lead an organization in Zimbabwe. It is a media house, AB Communications. I'm sure colleagues here, they now know who AB Communications is. It's a media company with radio, newspaper. We are in that space. But this COVID-19 pandemic has brought a lot of challenges to us as leaders. And I also believe everybody in the house, no one's life has remained the same amidst this pandemic. When I look at us living today as corporate leaders and heads of ministries, and I look at you as a head of a country that went through a very difficult past, what comes to mind is the genocide against the Tutsis. But with such a background, you've managed to pick up the pieces and drive the people, lead the people, and show them the way, and achieved what you've achieved. My question to you is, as a leader, what are the secrets? I want the tips. I want the nuggets. What are the tricks? How do I lead amidst all that negativity and adversity? Thank you, sir.
Well, I don't think there are any tricks or shortcuts or that there is any magic. After all, as people, as human beings, we are going to do what is humanly possible. You cannot do things out of that scope. But I guess with every individuals, with people of countries and so on, they've got to look at the challenges before them. We have, as you said, we have had tragedies of different kind. I mean, there was tragedy our country faced 27 years ago. But it is not just a tragedy that just happened. It really has a history to it. It is one of those things that only happens and exposes the history of the problem. And the problem that built up over many years and then ended up in that kind of situation of genocide. In fact, just like even this pandemic we talk about, COVID-19, which has affected the whole world, one thing one needs to observe carefully. We see problems associated with COVID-19. But if we observe carefully, COVID-19 has also exposed our weaknesses, things that were not right, things that were not in place, or the thinking that has not been operationalized so that when a tragedy like this or a pandemic like this happens, then you simply deal with it the way you must deal with it. You find people are taken aback, it's by surprise, it's something that is insurmountable. But really all it does is exposes weaknesses in countries, in societies, in how things are managed. I mean, one quick example is, in our case, Africa, meaning or Rwanda, we discovered that we haven't made sufficient investments in public health. That comes out straight. And then you start even wondering, you say, why didn't we make the investments all along before? Or we did not think about, which we are now beginning to think about, manufacturing of vaccines, of different pharmaceutical needs, because we always waited and we are happy to keep receiving them from abroad, if I may. So now, therefore, to your point, back to your point, the tragedy that befell our country in 1904 wasn't just something that happened either by accident or by coincidence of some kind, and therefore we have to deal with it. No, we have a history that over decades that led up to that. So when dealing with the problem, like that one, let's say in Rwanda, there are choices to make. First, you define the problem, as therefore give it that history. And that means quickly that you've got to think of, how do I address the root causes, those actually problems that led to this to happen? Even before you think about dealing with the actual situation itself, there and then, you're already thinking about, how did it happen? How did we get here? And then from there, you've got to make a choice. Can we change the situation? Can we do things differently and avoid that history, and therefore also avoid that kind of problem happening again in the future? So that's how we approached it. But of course, again, all of a sudden, not everyone is going to think like that. So that's how it takes people, leaders. And leaders also are not going to address such problems alone. you've got to create a kind of infrastructure that is going to bring in everybody, because everybody is affected. In our situation, everybody was affected. So it is everybody that is going to be involved with better understanding of what our problem, or what caused our problem, or what our problem is, and then work together to address it. So in our particular case, it has been the politics, it has been the economics, it has been how socially people relate. Therefore, we had to take a hard look at this problem and face the hard things we had to deal with, and deal with it without excuses. Yes, if we had excuses, if we were to look for excuses, we would have failed. In fact, already people had cast us as a failed state. It was a failed situation. People did not give us a chance. They thought there was no tomorrow for Rwanda. It is gone. So, but we had to rise to the occasion and deal with the matter. And I guess other people dealing with their own problems can also be successful or make good progress in dealing with them.
Thank you. I think I got my secrets. If I can summarize it for you, ladies and gentlemen, get to the root of the problem, involve the people. As you as a leader, you are not going to solve it alone. So thank you once again, Your Excellency. Now let me take this opportunity to open to the floor for a few questions I'll take, and Your Excellency His Excellency will respond. Thank you. Okay. Where are my mics? Okay. Yes, sir.
One thing we've learned quickly, there's discipline in Rwanda. There's discipline. We learned there's extreme discipline in Rwanda. We are very impressed, Your Excellency. Please, can you share us the secrets of the strategies of this discipline so that we take it back to Zimbabwe, to the private sector, into government?
Well, that's one area that gives us a great investment opportunity, so we can work together on that. But on a serious note, again, I guess the discipline comes from what I said earlier, that hard look at the problems of any nation by anyone. And then in dealing with those challenges, if you have set out to involve people, which must be the case, it has to be translated into what people see as their benefits as well, directed to them. The people must see that what they are faced with and what they must address, if they address that, they are the beneficiaries. That's what I'm talking about. Second, like in our case, as we set out to deal with our problems, in fact, we already having in our minds the kind of end state we want. You start on a journey of dealing with the challenges, but you're already having in mind the destination. So you are driven with that. And so that sense of urgency, that clarity on where you are coming from and where you want to go, and then the involvement of people and linking that with their benefits and showing it to them. That's actually the role of leaders. You explain, you show things, you know, so that in maybe a few days, weeks, months, or years, people start seeing benefits, so they feel the benefits. Then they are focused on that. So that discipline is about the focus that is generated by the sense of urgency and therefore the benefits that are going to be derived from dealing with whatever challenges you have before you. So it's theoretically, I mean, that's what it is. That's what I can say. But I can see your point also in saying, okay, theoretically you can say that, but how do you make it work? Because that's where problems develop. That's why you will find people make more progress than others, maybe in similar situations. It's not because they could not define what the issues are and approach to them, and so maybe all of them have the kind of knowledge of how to deal with the issue. But when it comes to the real practice, that's where the difference comes up. So I don't think I'll give you a completely satisfactory answer, because on the theory side, on the side of defining what the problem is, we may be together and even how to approach problems, but in practice, you will find there are these variations which I can't fully understand, but it will always depend on whether any situation had the opportunity for leaders to emerge that would stick to what needs to be done and work with the people and then get to where they want to go. So we can continue discussing that and make the necessary investments we said we could make. And
Thank you, Your Excellency. I'll take another question. Right on my right there.
Thank you, Excellency. My name is Ferdi Turasenga. I'm a Rwandan, doing business both here as the headquarters, also doing business in Zimbabwe. We have an office based in Harare, at Samura Machel 146, for those who are from Zimbabwe. So, Your Excellency, it's not a question, it's actually appreciation and contribution, because I remember I turned 10 years old when you just liberated Rwanda, and there is a slogan in Zimbabwe where they say, Zimbabwe is open for business. I think everyone here knows that slogan. I want to say that Rwanda means business, because I'm really a product of the change and reforms that happen in this country. You can imagine, 10 years old, today I'm 37, and I own a company that's listed on Rwanda Stock Exchange. It's called EPC Africa Group, but the subsidiary of EPC Africa Group is listed on Rwanda Stock Exchange. We are an IPP, what we call independent power producer. And when I went to Zimbabwe in vacation, I realized there was an opportunity in energy, and I started a business in Zimbabwe because I know everything is possible. During the pandemic, when everyone was running away, I found the opportunity, and today we are doing business, and I'm encouraging so many Rwandans, even Zimbabwean, And since I understand that this trade corridor of Rwanda and Zimbabwe is important if it works both ways, I encouraged so many Zimbabweans, and today I can tell you that we have a strong investor among the team, Mr. Exodus, who has, Your Excellency, he's going to invest he's very strong in housing, and he's looking at our market and putting a lot of houses here for affordable housing. So I'm encouraging the people, being Zimbabwe and Rwandan, to really ride in this highway that our two excellencies are building for us, so because we share so many, being past, even the future. Thank you, Your Excellency.
I think if I may just react to that, I think that's wonderful. And my conclusion to that is, let's do both. Let's be open to business and let's mean business. So I think if we...
Thank you. I'm sure, Minister Love, you've heard that Zimbabwe is open for business and let's mean business. Thank you. I'll take my last question before our conclusion. In the middle there. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Excellency. There's been a significant and clear mind shift change that has happened in Rwanda, which I think is responsible for the significant growth and development that we have seen. You have spoken in your address about hard work, dedication, and self-reliance. You also talked about a destination. And what I wanted to ask you, Your Excellency, is to say, what do you see for Rwanda in the next 5 to 10 years? What is your vision for Rwanda? Thank you, Your Excellency.
Building on all that you've referred to, that has been said, for Rwanda in the next 10 years, again, I use the earlier being on the journey. We are on a journey in search of prosperity, development. Like, if you put it in some technical terms, it's either today we are low-income country, we want to be medium-income country, upper medium, and higher. So, but it's not just about level of development also. As you think about that, you think about the stability of society, our society. And in particular, Rwanda, where we have come from. I think we've been building toward being a nation. We may have diversity in our society, but that gets to be resolved for the unity, the strength of the country. So that development, that prosperity I'm talking about, which we must achieve on the basis that every Rwandan benefits, irrespective of their religion, whatever has divided us in the past. So the vision is, we've already made some little progress. We want to make more, maybe 2 times what we have already achieved. Or if possible, 3 times. Why not? I think we should not limit ourselves to how fast and how much we can get, bearing in mind where we want to be. So really that is, it's trying to do better, do more of what we are doing already, and taking our people to that level of development where development and stability, and people become comfortable with that, and we need to have that.
Thank you, Excellency. All right, let me also take this opportunity to congratulate you for finally winning a game, Arsenal.
We're about to win more.
My final question to you, Mr. President, is on the sponsorship. I'm on Twitter, I follow you. I've read so many negativity, sadly from African people. We are Africa, we are poor. Why are we giving money to those guys? They are millionaires. My question is, what has been the impact of that activity, that intervention? How has it been?
Well, I think negativity arises out of just confusion. Yes, I don't think those people know what they are talking about. I really don't think they know what they are talking about. Because if they imagine that Rwanda just started spending its money anyhow, like that, and in fact giving it to those who don't even need money like I do, like Rwanda does, I think that's where the confusion starts from. By the way, not only are we working with the Arsenal, we are happy to do that, and I've been a fan of Arsenal Football Club for over 30 years, maybe 35. But we're also working with another football club, Paris Saint-Germain, the one in France, in the French league. Now, of the several pillars of development, in fact, one of them is tourism. We've invested in tourism, in infrastructure, and trained people around services that go along with that, and so on and so forth. But tourism, you need visitors. You need people to come and enjoy what the country offers. The beauty of the country, the experience, and so on and so forth. In fact, the story might be long. Let me try to see how I can. It's the same confusion even our own people had one time when after 1994, maybe around 98, we started building infrastructure, with limited resources. We built a hotel. I remember at first it was managed by Intercontinental, then later on it was bought by Serena. But it was built initially on government money. And we were being attacked by people here and there, say, government is wasting money, how you are building a 5-star hotel, what? They really thought we were stupid. So we just kept quiet. We said, okay, maybe after 5 years we will get to understand what we were really doing. You can see how long it takes some people. So, but the strategy was, because we were already building up the momentum for development of tourism. And when you are having tourism, there are these ones, the backpackers, there are others who really have money and want to spend it. So I was thinking about them. If people want to spend their money on the beauty of the country and the experience, and they come and have nowhere to stay, or you have limited them to some place they are not comfortable with, then they may not come. But if they know they will come and stay in a good hotel, they will stay. So you can see the contradiction here. People are saying you are wasting money building up this infrastructure, but the infrastructure was built for a reason. And in a short time, in fact, the hotel did well. And that's why I was telling you, we sold it and paid off the loans. And we did not build it as a government to run hotel business, no. We built the hotel so that when it serves its purpose, the private sector may take it over and run the business. But initially, government cannot dictate to the private sector and say, put your money here, put your money there, put your money in. No. The private sector puts their money where they want, not where I tell them to put it. So in this case, if I had waited to tell them to build a hotel, a five-star hotel, they would not have built it. But because I built it and it was there standing, then the private sector gets attracted and say, oh, you know what? I want that hotel. It's different from telling the person you build the hotel or you building it and then selling it. So for the sort of tourism, the investments we made, the partnership we have with the Arsenal, has actually attracted more people who have brought to the country more money than we have given Arsenal. So you don't have to be a very sharp businessman. I'm not one, but I think on this one we got it right. So that negativity is... But on the other hand, by the way, it's not so much the Africans who have been negative. I may even disagree with that. Actually, it has been either, if it is Africans, there are few, but they teamed up or used the outsiders. Because I've seen some writings in the British papers, not written by Africans, no, but by those people there, saying, you know, Rwanda is wasting our money because they give us aid, right? And they think but even then they are mistaken. If you give me aid, how do you want me to use it? Or why would you dictate to me how I use it? If you can give me 50 million, and in using the 50 million, I'm able to earn the country 300 million, why would you blame me for that? There must be something wrong in... But then they politicize it, they bring it into, use it for politics. This is why I say it is just confusion. But we are happy with the partnership with Arsenal, even happier that I'm the fan of Arsenal. And we are now doing well with the PSG, and I'm now a good fan of PSG. And I tell you, when you come back and you have time, we can go into numbers. I will show you how it is working very well for us, and I think it is. And it is working very well for those we have a partnership with.
I think, Your Excellency, you are a shrewd businessman, contrary to your disclaimer. Thank you, ladies and
gentlemen. I'll do business in my next life after this one.
Thank you. You've been a wonderful audience. I would like to take it back to my boss, Madam Louise. Your Excellency, we appreciate your time. Thank you so much.
Sure. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Your Excellency, for the wonderful insights and wisdom you've shared with us and for being so generous with your time. With that, ladies and gentlemen, we have come to the close of this. I ask that you remain seated as we let His Excellency take his leave. Please join me once again in giving him a very warm appreciation as he departs. And thank you very much, Mr. Mbewe, for excellent moderation of this session. Thank you. Group photo.
Ibyo rero byatangarizwaga aha hakaba ari inama yahuzaga u Rwanda ndetse na Zimbabwe, ariko ni inama inafunguwe ariko inatangwamo inama zitandukanye n'umukuru w'igihugu nyako Perezida wa Repubulika y'u Rwanda Paul Kagame wagejeje ijambo ku bari bitabiriye inama hano muri Kigali Convention Center. Washimiye cyane ubushake bw'abashoramari bo muri Zimbabwe mu gushora imari mu Rwanda, hanyuma anagaragaza yuko hari amahirwe atandukanye ku bashoramari bo muri Zimbabwe ndetse n'amahirwe atandukanye ku bashoramari bo mu Rwanda bifuza nabo n'ubundi gufatanya na bagenzi babo bo muri Zimbabwe mu kurushaho gukorana. Kandi Perezida Paul Kagame yanavuze ko Zimbabwe ifite byinshi yakohereza mu Rwanda birimo nyine bikorwa bitandukanye inganda zabo zikora. Gusa anavuga ko mu byo iki gihugu gishobora kohereza mu Rwanda n'ubundi harimo n'ubufatanye bushobora kuba bwaba mu bijyanye n'uburezi. Ngibyo rero ni byinshi byatangarijwe hano. Tubashimiye mwese twakomeje kubana kuri televiziyo y'u Rwanda, naho ubutaha inama yo isoreje hamwe ari kumwe nanjye Ngabire Eje DBB.